What's up, guys? Today I'm going to talk about how if you're a higher rank in Jiu-Jitsu, I would say blue and up, or maybe purple and up, you should be occasionally rolling with strikes, okay? Now, this doesn't mean you need to put on MMA gloves or elbow pads, although I think occasionally you should so you can deal with those kinds of strikes, but even just basic CJJ, open hand striking, and it doesn't need to be super hard, especially not towards the head if you want to avoid brain trauma, but you should occasionally roll with those kinds of strikes being available to both the bottom and top person. Here's why. If you purely roll in sport jiu-jitsu, you will become, sometimes, not always, but you will sometimes become complacent in certain positions where in a real situation in which strikes are involved, you do not want to be complacent in, okay? You're not going to want to chill in bottom half guard or deep half guard, if someone can just rain strikes down on your head while you're in those positions. It adds a sense of urgency and realism that is necessary if you want to make sure your jiu-jitsu is oriented towards the realities of self-defense. So not only when you're on top can you use strikes to progress in the jiu-jitsu positional hierarchy, when you're on bottom, you're going to need to learn how to defend against those strikes when they're being done to you. So your ability to measure distance is going to be much better. Your ability to close distance and collapse some person's weight on you to prevent hard strikes is going to become much better. These are skills that, you may not necessarily be incentivized to improve as much if you're purely rolling in sport jiu-jitsu all the time. Now, when it comes to why you should wait until you're an upper rank, to me that's obvious, but white belts, you guys are way too spazzy, okay? And you guys need to be taught to calm down, and you need to be you need to make sure that once someone starts training with strikes, that they're going to do so in a controlled fashion, right? They're not going to throw super hard, they're not going to, elbow or knee people on accident if that's not within the confines of what you're doing in that specific role. It generally just prevents people from freaking out and spazzing and injuring themselves or injuring others. So white belt is way too early. Even blue belt might be a little too early, although it depends on the blue belt, I guess. But I would say definitely purple and up, okay? Definitely purple and up. You guys need to occasionally roll with strikes, okay? Now, even better than that would be MMA sparring, okay? Because now you're dealing with strikes from standing, you're dealing with kicks, elbows, knees, not headbutts, sorry. Punches, elbows, all that stuff. And, you're dealing with a much more complete arsenal of what someone can throw at you when you're trying to take them down to the ground, okay? And again, guys, this sparring doesn't need to be hard. This doesn't need to be super hard sparring. You could do light contact to the head, which is what I recommend, okay? You want to accumulate as little head trauma as possible when you guys do this. So light contact to the head, medium to hard contact to the body and legs, okay? Your midsection, your legs, they're much more capable of taking damage, and it's not gonna do long-term damage in the same way that taking head trauma will, okay? That's definitely something you want to avoid. But in MMA sparring, that's even better. Again, it's more realistic. There's less limitations on what you can do for both the bottom and top person in terms of strikes. So it's helpful to do it every so often. That way you can make sure your jiu-jitsu is grounded in realism and you're not just a pure sport guy. The other thing I'll say, look, this is great for your cardio, okay? Training with strikes is amazing for your cardio because, again, in jiu-jitsu a lot of times, in sport jiu-jitsu, there might be positions where you can just chill, where you don't have to push the pace, or where when your opponent is trying to push the pace, you can lock them in your guard, or you can lock them in a position where you don't need to constantly move. Once strikes come into the picture, some of those positions where you could chill before, now you're getting strikes rained down upon you, okay? And that is going to incentivize you to move and transition and get out of there. So you have a much more reduced ability to control the pace once strikes are involved, especially from the neutral positions like stand-ups or a guard passing, guard play specifically, especially guard passing and guard. So it's going to be fantastic for your cardio, and you're going to experience more so what it's like to be in a real fight versus when you're just doing sport jiu-jitsu. Now, rolling without strikes is also very important, especially for beginners, for white and blue belts, because you'll learn how to not spaz. You'll learn the basic positional transitions first before you start dealing with strikes. So you'll know how to escape bad positions, escape pins. You'll know how to transition from, a standing position to, a guard pass, to a pin, to a submission. You'll learn all the basic steps of the hierarchy of jiu-jitsu before you implement strikes. And I think you should do all of that before you start implementing strikes. Also, waiting a few years, in someone's jiu-jitsu journey before you start doing that allows them to build that mental resilience that is necessary, for them to be able to take strikes. Because a lot of people, when they come in, they're not ready to take strikes right away, and it's something you got to work up to. So that gives you several years to make that happen. So hope you guys liked the video. If you did, click that thumbs up button. Share this content with your friends. If you've got a butt scooter friend that needs to do striking occasionally so that they realize that seated guard is unrealistic, share this video with them. Let them know. If you are new, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment below if there's something you disagree with or something you want to expand upon. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you next time.